Now, the Prime Minister is backing his safeguarding minister, Jess Phillips, after a fifth grooming gang survivor called on her to resign. The Prime Minister says he's got full confidence in Jess Phillips to lead the grooming gang inquiry process around this issue. The Children's Minister, Josh McAllister, told Times Radio Breakfast why he believed Jess Phillips should stay in that post.
It wouldn't resolve some of the tensions that are there within the survivor community, which are totally understandable and valid, about the scope of the inquiry and questions they've got about who the best person to be the chair might be. Jess herself, as the minister responsible for this, is probably one of the best placed people in Parliament to take this forward, having been a lifelong advocate and campaigner for the rights of young women and girls.
So, Josh McAllister, the Children's Minister there, speaking on Times Radio earlier. Now, hello, Anna Mihailova, Times Radio's political editor. Hey, Anna.
Hi, John.
Anna, could you just get us up to speed on this? Because Downing Street is standing by Jess Phillips. We've seen those demands for her to go. And now there are reports that while 4 victims working with the inquiry want Jess Phillips sacked, 5 have come forward insisting that she stay in post as a condition of cooperating with the inquiry.
That's right. So this speaks to some of what Jess Phillips was saying in the House the other day when she gave her extraordinary statement, that she was suggesting heavily that there are victims who feel differently to the ones who have resigned over it. This seems to be what that was about. Very interestingly, about those victims that say they would like Jess Phillips to stay in post, they also add that they would like the inquiry to focus on things that are other types of exploitation, not just grooming, it seems. So that, again, I think is an indication of just how knotty this is all getting and just how difficult the position is. I mean, this is what allies of Jess Phillips say has been the reason behind why she was so passionate but also rattled in front of MPs in the Commons. Now, on top of the Prime Minister saying that she should stay and ministers like Josh McAllister publicly defending her, you also have had lots of MPs increasingly saying that Jess Phillips should not only go, but she should apologise on the floor of the House for her comments about some of the victims' statements. So I've been told that Alicia Kearns, one of the MPs, and also Chris Philp, who is the Shadow Home Secretary, are looking at ways to try and compel Jess Phillips to come back to the floor of the House and apologise for what she has said that has infuriated those victims who quit.
Yeah, and she's obviously been accused there of treating the victims with contempt. I mean, Jess Phillips, we know, says she was never trying to do that. She was addressing her criticism at her political critics. And I guess it's logical and commonsensical to suppose the view of victims are going to be mixed. Now, what about the government's position? How are they getting on with finding a chairman? What sort of person are they looking for? And is it really just difficult to get a candidate who's going to be getting into a very difficult position, impossible to please everyone?
We have some of those victims who quit say one of their conditions, it has to be someone in the legal profession who's senior. Other people really wanted to be a judge. We've obviously got Louise Casey now stepping in, which does add heft to what Keir Starmer is trying to do here, because she was responsible for the original report this inquiry is based on. So a lot of people in government are pointing to that as a key indicator of of how they're taking this seriously. And certainly Louise Casey will bring a lot of support for herself, for her position and respect in this. But I think having had 2 potential chairs quit the running is a real problem for the government.
OK, Anna Mihailova, our political editor at Times Radio, thank you. Now, a good afternoon to David Greenwood, who is a grooming gang victims lawyer. Hello, David.
Good afternoon.
It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining me. Now, as we see, Downing Street is standing by. Let's address the question of the safeguarding minister. Downing Street standing by Jess Phillips. 5 victims will say that she should go. 5 more, it's reported, say she should stay, and they won't work with the inquiry if she goes. I guess we're looking at a range of views, and maybe that's just to be expected.
It's certainly to be expected. But this inquiry has to have the support of the participants in it. I, as a taxpayer, don't want to have wasted £100 million, and at the end of it, for the recommendations or the conclusions that come out of it to not have the support of the people that participate in it or the public.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it will be argued that given that a number of people with a close interest and different experience will have different views on different key aspects, it's not going to be possible, David, is it, to come to a conclusion, whatever that turns out to be, whenever it happens, that does satisfy everyone in every respect?
Absolutely not, but most right-thinking people can judge whether the conclusions that are reached impartially and transparently.
Yes.
If that's done with the help of a judge who commands respect, then all the better.
No, indeed. I mean, the Prime Minister's argument, let's address that, on the idea of appointing a judge to chair the grooming gangs inquiry. He said that would hold up police investigations and possible prosecutions. Would you accept that?
I don't accept that. No, with all respect to him, I think that's nonsense. There are many investigations going on at any one time. There are bound to be areas that an inquiry has to work around, and it's not impossible to do that. We had that in the original 7-year-long inquiry that I worked on with Alexis J. It's not impossible to get around those issues. Those are minor details.
Okay. Now, what about the question of the Prime Minister saying that this inquiry won't water down its mission, its core mission? I mean, do you accept that assurance from the Prime Minister? And if you don't, tell me why not.
Yes, I probably do accept that now that it's been brought up, although it was floated. We know that it was floated. We've been told that by numerous people who were on the panel who had it suggested to them that should take place. If we're going to do this, it needs to be done properly.
All right. One more question on the broad principle of accountability, David. I mean, everyone will want to see accountability. Those who have questions to answer facing up to them, and those questions to be aired properly. But what does accountability mean in the case of this inquiry? Because it's difficult to see how this inquiry could provide a flow of forensic detailed examinations of every individual case in every part of the country, and getting people into criminal courts. That's for the police.
That's a really great question. There are different types of accountability, aren't there? The perpetrators who carried out these awful crimes can really, I suppose, only find accountability through the criminal courts. And that's not what this inquiry is doing. If it discovers that some of these perpetrators have been brought to justice, then it can refer them into the police. That's great. I suppose if they've got some money, they can be sued. And then you're thinking about accountability for the public servants who have statutory duties to protect children, such as social workers, social work departments of local authorities, the police, NHS. We saw with Rotherham and other grooming scandals such as this that public servants such as local authority workers were able to leave their jobs without being properly disciplined. Police officers were able to walk away from their jobs on retirement or early without being disciplined and without having any kind of sanctions. We want to see whether, I suppose, well, I would like to see, and I think on behalf of the women that I represent, we want to see those people who, if they've done their jobs badly, named and shamed, and we want to work out in future how we can strengthen or incentivise public servants to actually do their jobs properly and protect children.
David Greenwood, a lawyer to grooming gangs victims, thank you so much.